Hi, how are you all? I hope you're all doing well. In Jolly Phonics, we have 7 groups, as you all know. And in each group, there are 6 letter sounds. Today, we'll look at the first group, Group 1, where there are 6 letter sounds, S, A, T, I, P, N. But I'll be showing you the first 4 letter sounds, S, A, T, and I. Here in this video, I'll show you how to teach your children how to begin the class and how to introduce the first letter sound S. Alright, so before you get into your class, make sure you prepare your flashcards and you're ready with your story and you're ready with all the pictures and your children are also ready with their workbooks. The first letter sound in Jolly Phonics is the letter S. Even before we are going to start the letter S, we are going to get our class excited. Talk to your children and ask them if they can make sounds like a dog or a cat, a horse, a sheep, or any animal they know, a chicken or a duck. And you can just ask each child to make these noises. Because remember, they're going to learn sounds. In Jolly Phonics, the main thing is they're going to learn the sounds of letters. So they are going to come up with a lot of sounds and it's going to be really exciting and there's going to be a lot of fun. After this is all done, they are now ready for the story. So we are going to begin with a story. Every sound has a story and I will tell you how to go step by step. So to introduce the letter sound S, let me give you a small story. It's a sunny day. A boy takes his dog for a walk. The boy throws a stick and the dog runs after it. The dog sniffs around in the grass and starts barking. A large spotty snake is sitting up and hissing. Sss. The boy grabs the dog and the snake slowly slithers away. So this is a small story that I've told you. You can make your own story and make sure there are lots and lots of words which have the letter sound S in them. Once you're finished with the story, next we are going to do the action. The action for the sound S is weave your hand in an S shape. Weave your hand in an S shape like a snake and say S. Do this action and ask your children to repeat the sound and the action together. So whenever they are doing the sound, they should also be able to do the action. Repeat it as many times as you can and make it more interesting and joyful. Once that is done, we are going to show the flashcard. You have to make sure you're ready with your flashcard. So this is a flashcard and show the letter S and say S. S. Alright, so once this is done, now we are going to show the letter formation. How is the letter formation done? You can do this. Use your finger and do like this. S. And also you can do it in the air. S. S. And when you're doing this, your children also repeat it. They are also supposed to repeat what you're doing. Ask them to do it. S. S. After the letter formation is done, now it is sounding. What is sounding? You're going to show them 4 pictures. And in these 4 pictures, there are going to be 3 words which have the sound S in them and 1 will not have the sound S in them. Look at these pictures. Sun, snail, spider, and drum. Read out these words for your children by showing the pictures and ask them which one does not have the S sound in them. Read it once or twice or thrice and ask your children to find out which one does not have the sound that they just now learnt. If they are able to identify the sound, fantastic, they have learned the sound S. It's time for them to write down the sound. Dictate the sound and ask them to write it down in their notebook. If your children are struggling to write, do please assist them in writing. And the last step is singing a song for them. I'll show you how to sing the song. The snake is in the grass. The snake is in the grass. S. The snake is in the grass. One more time. The snake is in the grass. The snake is in the grass. S. The snake is in the grass. So when you're singing the song, they will love to sing and also they will remember the sound very well. When you're singing the song, do not do any actions for words like snake and grass. Actions should be made only for the sound S. Okay, so that's the lesson for the letter S. In a week, you can teach your child about 3 letter sounds. If your child is about 4, 5 or 6, between 4 and 6, then you can introduce 3 letter sounds per week. If they are older children, then you can introduce more. Maybe you can introduce around 4 to 5 letter sounds. So the next letter sound is the letter sound A. A. So before we introduce the sound A, what should we do? We have to revise. So you're going to revise the letter sound S, and the children are going to do the action and say S. After the revision is done, it's time for the story. The story is: a family are going on a picnic. The children help to pack some apples, sandwiches and blackberry pie. At the picnic, the children feel something tickling them. Some ants are crawling up their arms. They jump up shouting, "Ah, ah, ah, ah." That's the action and the story for the letter sound A. So I'll show you how to do the action for A. Wiggle your fingers up your arms as if ants are crawling on your arms and say "Ah, ah, 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 ah." That's all. So now that you're finished with the story and the action, we are going to use a flashcard and show them A. 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 Remember, when you make a flashcard, make sure you place a dot below the sound A. 1 dot equates to 1 sound. 1 dot is equal to 1 letter sound. A, A, A. After you show the flashcard, it's time for tracing the letter. A. 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 Once the formation is taught, now it's time for sounding. So you're going to take 4 pictures and 3 pictures will have the sound A in it and 1 will not have. Let me give you examples of the pictures. Spider, ant, arrow, apple. After reading out the words, you should ask your children which word does not have the sound that they have just learnt. Ant, apple, arrow, spider. If they are able to identify the word that does not have the A sound, then they have learnt the sound A very well. Moving on, it's time for your child to write. Dictate the sound A and S, and they should be able to write these 2 sounds. A and S. Now, to make it more interesting and helping them to remember the sound very well, we are going to sing a song for them. That's the last step. A, ants on my arm. A, ants on my arm. A, ants on my arm, they're causing me alarm. A, ants on my arm. A, ants on my arm. A, ants on my arm, they're causing me alarm. That's all for the letter A, the sound A. Moving on, we are going to do the next letter sound the next day. What is the next letter sound? That is the letter T. So when you're going to teach them the letter T, you're going to again revise the previous 2 letter sounds that you taught them. The first letter sound is S and the second letter sound is A. Make sure when you're asking them to repeat the sound, they should also do the action. So we are going to do S, A, A. Once the revision is done, it's time for a story. I'll tell you the story now. Some children go to a tennis match. Each time the racket hits the ball, it makes a t noise. The game is very exciting. The people in the crowd turn their heads from side to side watching the ball. The children go home and play tennis too, saying t, 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 t. That's all. That's the action and the sound for the letter T. T, t. Your head goes side to side. That's the action. Turn your head from side to side and say t, 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 t. Once the action is done, it's time to show them the flashcard. This is a flashcard for the letter T. 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 I'd always like to have a dot below every letter sound they learn, because sometimes they will also be learning digraphs. Digraphs are 2 letters and 1 sound. So that's why we should start from the beginning itself and help them to understand 1 dot equates 1 sound. So make sure you keep a dot below the letter sound. So this is T, T, T. Once this is done, the formation of the letter sound. T, 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 T. Help your children do the formation using finger tracing. If your child is new to letters, you can have sandpaper letters and ask them to trace the letters. Alright, and they can slowly learn how to write letters. After the tracing is done, it's now time for blending. Blending is something new, isn't it? Yes, it is something new here because we have introduced 3 letter sounds now. So for S, A, T, there are 3 letter sounds and we can make at least 2 words from these 3 letter sounds. Now we are going to blend 2 words from the 3 letter sounds that we have learned. What are the 2 words? One is at, 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 at. I'm going to show you how to do arm blending. You can place the letter sounds on your shoulder, 1 letter sound on your shoulder and 1 on your elbow, and then show them how to blend them. A here and T on your elbow. At, 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 at. After this is done, the next word is sat. S, at, sat. S, at, sat. So now we have blended 2 words and we have formed 2 words from the 3 letter sounds we have learnt. Moving on, now it's time for sounding. We are going to show 4 pictures and we are going to ask your children to identify if there is a word which does not have the sound that they have just learnt. Tennis, sun, tent, tiger. Read them out 3 or 4 times and ask them to identify which one does not have the sound that they have just learnt. Tennis, sun, tent, tiger. If your child is able to identify the word that does not have the sound T, then they have learned the letter sound T. Moving on, it's time for them to write the letter sounds. You're going to dictate the sounds T, S, A. You can dictate in any way you want. You can start with S, A, T, or you can dictate as A, T, S. The last one is the song. Okay, here we go. When I watch the tennis game, t, 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 t. When I watch the tennis game, my head goes back and forth. One more time. When I watch the tennis game, t, 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 t. When I watch the tennis game, my head goes back and forth. Alright, so that's all for T. Now it's time for us to learn the next letter sound, the fourth letter sound. So before we learn the letter I and the letter sound A, we start with the revision. The revision of S, A, T. Okay, when you revise, remember you have to ask them to sound out the letter sound and also do the action. S, A, T, T, T. After this is done, you have to tell them a story. Make it more exciting, make it more fun. Bring pictures of stories and show them the stories and get them excited and make it more dramatic also. Alright, so here's the story. A family has a white pet mouse. One night, the cage door is left open and the mouse escapes. It runs along the desk and knocks over an ink bottle. The mouse is splashed by the ink. It squeaks, and tries to scrub it off. Now the mouse is called Inky. Alright, so that's the story. The action for the letter sound E is wiggle your fingers like this and say E. When you're making the sound E, remember it's not a long E sound. It's a very short E sound. E. It's not E. 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 That's all. Once the action is done, it's time to show them the flashcard. E. 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 And the letter formation. E. 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 Finger tracing. E. You can also use sandpaper letters to show them the letter I. Once this is done, it's time to blend. Blending time. Let's blend some words. You know, there are more words that you can form using S, A, T, E. Let me give you some words. E, T, it. E, T, it. E, T, S, it's. E, T, S, it's. S, E, T, sit. S, E, T, sit. It's time for them to write the letter sound. The last one is the song. Okay? E. Inky.
Inky the mouse is my pet. He spilled the ink and got wet. The ink is spread all over the desk. Inky's wet. Inky the mouse is my pet. He spilled the ink and got wet. The ink is spread all over the desk. Inky's wet.
Let's go through the steps one more time. You begin with a story and then you show them the action and then you show them the flashcard, and after the flashcard is done, you show them the formation. After the formation is done, you're going to show them some pictures so that they will remember the sound of the letter that you taught them that day. And after the sounding is done, you're going to dictate them the letter sound and ask them to write it. And the final step is singing a song. This step will be for the introduction of the first letter sound. For the second letter sound, you will be revising. First you will revise, and then you will tell a story, and then you will do the action, and then you will start with the flashcard, formation, sounding, writing, and the song. Then when you go to the third one, the third letter sound, T, T, then again you will revise the previous letter sounds, and then you will go for the story, the flashcard, formation, sounding, writing of the letter sound, and also if you want, you can do dictation of words. And then final step will be songs. And for the fourth letter sound, you will do revision, revise all the letter sounds, and then you will tell them the story, and then you will do the action, then you will do the flashcard, formation, blending. Remember, blending comes now here. You do the blending and then sounding, and then you will do the writing part, and then you will finish off with the song. So these are the steps you have to follow when you're teaching your children letter sounds. So today we have done the 4 letter sounds. The first 4 letter sounds: S, A, T, E, S, A, T, E. In the next class, I'll be doing P and N, and the following classes, I'll be doing 1 letter sound per video. Do please like, share, subscribe and press the bell icon for notifications. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.